Senator Ben Cardin is a Democrat from Maryland. Senator, thank you for being here. You were with the president in your state today. Tell us the latest on the deal.
Well, Michael, it's good to be with you. We got to pass the debt ceiling by August 2nd. And it really is the Republicans in the House that are holding this up. And the president's working very hard with Speaker Boehner, trying to come together with an agreement. The bottom line is, look, we've got to increase the debt ceiling. We can't jeopardize the credit of America. And quite frankly, we need a credible plan, a balanced plan, a comprehensive plan to get the deficit under control, and it needs to include revenue.
Is it clear to you, Senator, that the difficulty is on the GOP side of the aisle? I ask because here's the president with you this morning at a town hall in Maryland explaining the situation, and who still needs convincing. He says what you've just told us. Let's listen.
And I'm willing to sign a plan that includes tough choices I would not normally make, and there are a lot of Democrats and Republicans in Congress who I believe are willing to do the same thing. The only people we have left to convince are some folks in the House of Representatives. In 2010, Americans chose a divided government. But they didn't choose a dysfunctional government.
So he's making reference to the House, which I assume he means the GOP leadership in the House. Meanwhile, Speaker Boehner today was still playing politics with the president. He made some comments where he talked about the difficulty being with the president. Here he was on the House floor.
We've done our job. The Democrats who run Washington have done nothing. They can't stop spending the American people's money. They won't, and they have refused. President Obama talks about being the adult in the room. Where's his plan to cut spending and to raise the debt limit? Listen, we're in the fourth quarter here. We're fighting for jobs. We're fighting for the country's future, and we're fighting for the American people.
So, Senator, where does the problem lie? Who poses the greater impediment to getting this deal done?
Well, let's go back and realize how we got here. It was the Republicans, the Republican administration, that used the credit card for 2 tax cuts, then went to war in 2 countries, used the credit card again rather than paying the bill. Now the credit card's coming due, and the Republicans in the House don't want to live up to our obligations. This isn't about more spending. This is about paying for what we already have incurred. We get it in the Senate. That's why the Democrats and Republicans have worked together. We could come up with a plan. We do have a plan. We want a comprehensive, balanced approach to deal with the deficit. But we're not going to be dictated by the Republicans in the House, who really are looking more towards a default than they are solving the problem.
Well, does the plan, as you understand it, sir, include tax increases?
It includes enhanced revenues. No one's No one's talking about rate increases. What we are talking about is eliminating a lot of the loopholes, a lot of the shelters, a lot of the tax expenditures that we believe are not efficient. So we are talking about getting more revenue through the tax code by eliminating the loopholes in these deductions.
Would the Bush tax cuts expire as currently intended, as currently planned?
Well, I certainly hope so as it relates to the higher income people. We do believe that at this time, when you're asking students to make sacrifices, asking our seniors to make sacrifices, that the least we can do is tell them, the most well-off in our community, that they shouldn't be getting a continued tax break that was intended to expire.
Senator Cardin, your colleague from Maryland, fellow Democrat Barbara Mikulski, told the Washington Post, quote, "When we heard these reports of these mega-trillion-dollar cuts with no revenues, it was like Mount Vesuvius. Many of us were volcanic." What's she referring to as far as you know?
Well, I talked to the president today, and the president was very, very clear that revenues need to be part of the final package. And I think, look, we know there's going to be spending cuts. We understand that. We're prepared to support a comprehensive, balanced approach to get our debt under control. But we need to make sure that it is fair. And to be fair, we need to have the revenues to pay our bills.
Would you agree that if there are no revenue increases, no tax hikes, then it would be perceived as a capitulation by the administration to the GOP-controlled House?
I wouldn't use the word tax hikes, but I would tell you, you have to have more revenue if you're going to have a credible plan to bring our deficit under control.
And your understanding, having been with the chief executive just earlier today in your state, is that this is a plan that's going to include both?
Absolutely. The president couldn't have been more clear today that if you're going to have a comprehensive plan, it must include enhanced revenues. We must make sure that it's balanced, it's fair, and that it invests so that we can create jobs. We've got to invest in education, innovation, infrastructure. The president was clear. The Democrats are clear about this. We want to make sure that our recovery stays on track and we create the jobs necessary for our economy. And by the way, that will also help our budget.
Senator Ben Cardin, thank you, sir, for being here. Have a nice weekend.